Hey, welcome to the 10-Minute Daily Reality Check. David Wygant here. I've got a good friend of mine, somebody who I highly respect in the dating sphere. Let's just say, as I always do the unfiltered truth, my friend Jonathan Astley does the unfiltered warmth. Boy, that's a great way to describe him. He's warm, he's lovable, he's fun, he's sweet, he's nice, but he'll also tell you the honest truth, but he does it from such a compassionate, amazing side. So you're going to need to listen up because there was something he posted on the Facebook. I like to call it the Facebook because it really is an entity of its own. Our friend Brian Howie from the Great Love Debate basically wrote something. Are women better off now or not? There's a larger, better pool of good men in America in 2017 than in any other time in history. Yet women aren't happier than any other time in history. Is that the hidden cost of the rise of the independent woman? Jonathan went a little off on it, and I'm going to allow him to really say what he feels on this matter because I feel a very different way in a lot of ways. I find women don't open their eyes to good men when they show up because they're constantly shopping for online men. Anyway, Jonathan, tell me how you feel about this.
Well, first off, thank you for having me on your show. I really appreciate it. I only have 10 minutes, so let's just get to the chase. You know, Brian's post caught my attention, and I thought to myself, the comment that there are better men now than ever before, and I think to some degree that's true. I think there's been a shift in the dynamic of the Mad Men era of men that were misogynistic, controlling, treated women as property. So I do believe that men are better now than before. They're spending more time being better fathers. They're being more attentive. Not all men, but a good percentage of men. So I believe that part of that to be true. But the other part he brings up is women aren't happier. And my comment on that was like as if he knew women 50, 80 years ago were that much happier. I know my mother's generation said it was really difficult being a woman back then. So I'm not sure that there's truth to that.
Jonathan, it's interesting, okay, because I've said it 1,000 times. Women crave and desire love, but yet women hide behind their stories, okay? And I think people are better off now than ever before because there's a higher selection of people that have actually done the work. Women no longer have to settle for the caveman or the guy that's not evolved or the guy that is still acting like a man boy because not every man is a man boy. There's a lot of men, and I agree with Brian on this, and I think that's what he was really getting at too, is that there's so many men that have done the work. There's so many men that have gone to self-help seminars. There's so many men that have read books on how to show up for love. There are men that have read the 5 love languages. There are men that have done the work after a relationship and really looked deep at their soul and started understanding who they are and how they want to show up for a woman. They've learned the love of a child. They've embraced that. But yet I'm finding a lot of women are still kind of being triggered and sticking with these man boys and then thinking in lack that there are not enough great men out there because in reality, women tend to always want to do this us against them mentality. Like women are so evolved and as a species, women are so evolved and they're just so much better than men in so many different ways. And I got to say, there's a percentage of men out there that are truly evolved, but women don't seem to find them. And I think that's the biggest frustration for women, and they settle once again to their old stories.
Well, I'm going to say, though, David, that I think it's equal on both sides. I think there are men who have that are doing personal work, or maybe they've done therapy, or maybe they've done a group coaching programs to better themselves. And I believe there's plenty of women equally have done the same. So I think that's equal on both sides. I will say, though, that most people, and this is a generalization, both men and women haven't done the inner work to be, and what I mean by inner work is really do that work of self-love and recognize that happiness comes from within. So what I think you're addressing is the complaints coming from people that are unhappy within. And this is both men and women. And I don't want to put a percentage, it's 50-50, but you know what? It's pretty darn close. You know, I think you might hear more women because of the profession you're in, so you're hearing that one side. And I think men have their own complaints. Would you call them man boys? And what I want to say is, for the generation, for our age bracket, there's a lot of people that are going through some really deep emotional shit, and yet they want companionship, they want attention, they want sex, but does that mean they're really ready for a relationship?
Well, you know, I think a lot of people aren't ready for love because they don't even know what love really means. You know, they don't take the time. I mean, there's so many women that seem to get caught up, and men as well, get caught up in totally wrong person for them, you know. Because I've said it a long time, I think women fall in love and men fall in love with what they think they deserve instead of what they truly desire. And I'm reading some of the comments right here. You know, and one of the comments was, I'm open to meet quality single men, drug and disease-free, successful, not multiple kids with multiple baby mamas, not abusive and controlling. It's not as easy as that for us single ladies to meet a good man. I mean, there's just so much anger. Why talk about what you don't want? Talk about what you do want, so the universe gives you that.
I agree with you 100%. Both men and women need to start focusing more on what you do want. So for those listening, I want to take you on what David just said, because that is so true. Rather than focusing on the negative, I don't want cheaters, I don't want liars, I don't want, blah, 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 making that list. Guess what you're going to do? You're going to attract more of that in. So shift your reframe it. There's an abundance of good men out there. Good men are seeking me, and for the men out there listening, there's good women that are looking for you. When you shift to what you desire from a positive standpoint, you're going to attract more in. I am total agreement with you on that, David.
Well, yeah, and I think that's what a lot of people are not doing. I mean, it's like nonstop. We've been counseling women for a long, long time, nonstop, and men. All I'm hearing about is like, yeah, I'm with this guy, and, it's been 5 months, and, he's dangling the carrot, but he doesn't include me in on his life, and, it seems like, I don't understand, he's not really emotionally mature, but I'm just going to give him another chance, and I'm going to give him another chance, and another chance, and then, women, I see women over the age of 60, they tell me this story. There's no good men out there over the age of 60. They all have broken hips, and all they want to do is just have sex and, blah, blah, blah. And everybody, you're right, Jonathan, they're focusing in on the negative instead of letting go. And that's something that I think is so valuable, is to be alone. Because the second you're alone, and you're fully alone, and you're open to meeting somebody new, and you're clearing your schedule for love. You're not busy being busy all the time. You're not scheduling yourself Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, running from basically the fear of being alone, and you're opening yourself to seeing new and interesting people. I think life changes for you.
Well, I can approach this a couple different ways. First and foremost, what I want to say to those listening, I'm a huge proponent that the minute you begin a relationship with someone, that you actually start investing in the we. Okay, so there's a you, there's a me, and then there's a we. And as soon as the two people decide to call themselves boyfriend and girlfriend, I'm a huge proponent to start doing couples work together, start doing couples workshops, things that help enhance your relationship. Kind of like premarital counseling used to be in the past. I'm saying start that right from the get-go. And I know a lot of people go, well, that kills the romance and all that kind of stuff. I think the biggest problem in dating and relating today is relationship skills are poor on both sides. And so we need help in learning how to communicate with one another. And I think that can start beginning the second or third month you're in a relationship. And then you can decide if you're right for each other to continue. But you have to make an investment in the we. You can't be focused on yourself, and you can't be focused on your partner. It's important to be healthy within yourself and to be with a healthy partner, but the we is a separate entity. Does that make sense?
It's so funny because I tell people that all the time. The second you meet someone who is unlike anyone you've ever met before is the second you need to think about the things that we can do together. Instead of trying to push, which I always say with bad relationships, you can't find or fall in love pushing a boulder with no tread up a hill, because you're constantly going to have that boulder literally fall back on you. You can't change somebody into something. So you need to listen very carefully to how we unfolds. And I love that, because I know when I'm into somebody, I'm always talking about the we. Hey, we need to do this, or we need to do that, or wow, we need to hang out, or it's always about we, because I'm showing, hey, I'm a vulnerable man. I'm successful. I have done the work, and I'm not afraid to look at you after a date and say, hey, you're different than anybody I've ever met before. I'd like to explore the power of we, because I don't want you literally having to feel insecure, having to guess what my intentions are. And I think we need to do that. As I'm saying we here, we need to do that for each other. We need to show each other, men and women, that we're both investing in the we from the second we meet, because that's when it all starts. And then when you're in a relationship, or you're in a relationship, like you said, I agree. We need to figure out how we can keep the romance going, how we can find, how we can fall more in love, because we want to have the best partnership. And I use we so much in there. I think anybody listening to us right now is immediately going to think they're in a relationship with both you and I.
Well, I agree with the we. Let's take this even one step further, David, is what I see, and this is the weakest part in the link. There's more emphasis on romance, whether it's the expectation of the romance from the woman's side, or the deliberate intention of romance, which is from the man's side to get laid, and yet very little time is spent developing the friendship part of the relationship. Because truth be told, ask anybody who's been married 40, 50, or 65 years like my parents, they all say the same thing. I married my blank. I married my best friend.
Yep.
And that's what I see is the weakest link in this chain. Once two people decide to mate, in other words, they're going to date together, they're not investing in the we, as you just said. And let's take that a step further. They're not investing in creating a friendship. But this is the difficult part for coaches like you and I, is helping them develop to recognize what friendship looks like. Because what you're talking about is people that get sucked into the illusion of chemistry, thinking they're friends with someone when they're really not. And that's our job, is to help everybody who's listening, is teach, and I say teach, how to have better friendship skills, better skills to recognize if you're friends with someone. Does that make sense?
Well, it makes a lot of sense. I know when I'm dating somebody, I'm thinking about the we, and I'm thinking about the friendship. Do I like this person? Do I enjoy texting with this person? Do I want to see this person? Do I enjoy what they have to say? Can I imagine hanging out with them for a weekend and doing fun things? Do they like the things that I do? Can I imagine them being a good friend? Because the sex part, to me is the intoxicating part. And I don't want to rush the sex part, because when you rush the sex part, what happens is you unlock the oxytocin. Let's just go to we there. You unlock the oxytocin that flies and really triggers the we in a way that is really hard to sustain. Because like you, I want my best fucking friend. I don't care. I love sex. I'm great at sex. It's fun.
Let me ask you, do you think sex should be taken off the table for a little while?
I got to tell you, okay, because sex is the greatest gift you can give somebody, and if you really are a sexual being and you're really good at pleasing the other person, you don't need to give them that. I would say literally 30 days and 30 nights. It's like going on Noah's Ark, okay? Make sure
you're... No sex for the first 30 days and 30 nights?
Absolutely. Nothing. Just get to know one another. Get to know who each other is.
You know what? I got to say that. I'm your friend. And by the way, I totally support that 1,000%. I'm saying I'm a little shocked, but I'm happy you're saying that. And I think we probably need to promote that a little more, you and I as coaches, not because it's this barrier, into a relationship, but I think there's an importance of taking time to get to know one another before you have sex.
Well, it's so true, because sex has always been my go-to thing. I've always been a sexual being. It's like a skill. And I know if I go to that really fast, I get caught up in it, because I've always been a pleaser. I love to please a woman. I love to make her orgasm. I love to do all this stuff. And it's like it becomes this thing, and it becomes this thing that's greater than us. And, and even anybody, I mean, if you're dickmatized or pussymatized. When you're in a relationship, you're really under the influence of sex, and it really doesn't allow you to see the person who you're with, and it's hard to have the we, because if you think about it, you're so caught up in the sexual side of things that when they come over, all you want to do is get inside their pants and really feel that amazing feeling again, because it's like a drug being released. And really, the greatest thing about two people is sitting on a sofa and talking for 6 hours and hanging out and becoming the best we possibly can become.
So wait. So I am 1,000% in agreement. So do you think we should, you and I as coaches, start promoting a 30-day no-sex rule? And I don't believe in rules, right? But I think there's some value. I think there's some major truth in what you're saying.
I think we need to promote that. And as a matter of fact, I think we should start posting it to get people to see their opinions on it, to really create that. As a matter of fact...
Well, as soon as we get off this, I'm going on Facebook right now.
Yeah, you go on Facebook, okay? We're going to end this because we're over the time limit. And the fact of the matter is, I'm even going to rename this podcast is the 30-day no sex rule, because people are going to wonder, what the hell is the we 30-day no sex rule? Well, that's what it is. That's what reality is. We're going to change your reality. 10-minute daily reality check is out. We got Jonathan Asley.
Wait. We should
what?
One thing, though.
All right.
Some people only date once a week, so that might only be 4 dates. Is it 30 days or is it 30 dates?
I would say 30 days, because even if you're dating somebody once a week, if you are forming the we, you are actually formulating the we from the get-go. You guys are checking in with each other. You guys are actually acknowledging that you've never met anybody. It's also grown-up way to date. It's like, hello, we're adults. If you've never met somebody like this before, then why are you still multiple dating so many people when you know that you need to give somebody an opportunity to get to know them? Take a look at the people that are on your dating roster right now. Throw the people to the bench that you don't really want anymore, and put the person who shines above all the rest of them at the very, very top. Because otherwise, then you're never going to learn what we is.
I'm on board, buddy, so let's start promoting it.
All right, we'll promote it. Hey, Jonathan, how can people get you? What's your website?
For those listening, my website is JonathanAslay.com. Just Google me, Jonathan Aslay, ASLAY.com. And you can get a bunch of free gifts, and we can connect, and we'll become Facebook friends and all that good stuff.
Beautiful. Jonathan, man, I'll talk to you in a bit. And for the rest of you, David Wygant out. Radical self-help that doesn't suck. That's what we always have on the 10-Minute Daily Reality Check. I'll see you tomorrow.